Good evening, everyone. It's just a couple of minutes after 9, and I am joined by a couple of really wonderful people who have been, unfortunately, victimized by scammers in the lost pet industry, which is just almost unbelievable to me. It's just reprehensible that people would take advantage of a grieving pet owner to somehow financially benefit, but it's happening more and more. We talk all the time about not taking the six-digit phone call, the six-digit number phone calls where they say, if you are the true owner of this dog or cat, give us your six-digit number, or we're going to send you a six-digit number to verify. That's all a bunch of crap. But this is taking scamming to new heights. And I want to introduce to you Adam, who is sitting there with his little hoodie on for U of L, and Tammy and Felicia, who both at this point are ready to scream because they experienced a call today and were able to stave off the very scam that got Adam just a couple of months ago. So let's start with Adam. Your beautiful cat went missing, and it broke my heart because your future mother-in-law is one of my dearest friends, and Leslie Devitt, who is a fabulous rescue partner of mine, is the cat expert. I am not a cat expert, but she is, and she jumped in to help. Angela came up from Tennessee and tracked the cat to a wooded area. Leo, unfortunately, at this point has not been found. I know you and Christina are about to lose your minds because you love this cat more than anything. I want you to tell the story of Leo's loss, and then I want you to tell the story about what happened with this scamming situation, which is just absolutely horrendous.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, Tara, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to get to spread the word and hopefully mitigate some more of these scam calls that are going to surely still be coming down the line.
Yep.
But yeah, as you can see on your screen now, that's our buddy Leo. He's a black and white tuxedo cat. He's about 5 years old. And he went missing November 1st. We are being led to believe at this point, with the information we've gathered, that Leo was let out of our apartment while neither me or my fiance, Christina, were at home. And once we discovered he was lost, we just tried to spread the word that he was lost with the flyer that you're seeing right now. We, like you mentioned, have had so much help. Leslie has been a saint, has been helping
She
us out a
is.
ton. And then, yeah, we had Angela who came up with her canine dog and helped try to track where he last went. And, we've had other locals. We have a local named Megan who's helped us out a lot with her tracking dog. And
Yes.
all the countless neighbors and people that are still keeping their eyes out. And I still get a call every now and then saying they just saw a black and white cat. And, we go out and try to find them. But yeah, the long story short with Leo is we don't have a confirmed sighting of him since the day he got out, which is November 1st. We lived at the time in the apartments there at the corner of 42 and 22 off Seminary Drive.
Yep.
And so that's the last known area that he was in. And we recently have moved. Our lease was up, so we had to move into our new house, which is not too far away. So at a moment's notice, we're still able to go over to the area and start searching for him. But the sad part of the story is that we haven't had a confirmed sighting of him. We haven't had a sign for him in a while. So we're telling ourselves that he was scooped up. He's being taken care of by someone. And hopefully they just haven't seen any of our signage or gotten the word that he is lost and that we're looking for him. That's kind of what we're hoping for right now.
Well, and that's the hard part when you don't get a sighting, and when then you are taken advantage of by somebody who thinks it's really an awesome idea to call and try to get money out of you by lying to you. Tell us about that phone call that came in allegedly from the city shelter, which is the most painful part. They actually pretended to be successfully by spoofing the actual phone number for Louisville Metro Animal Services. They pretended to be shelter workers. Tell us about that call.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So that Sunday, I believe it was, just 2 days after he went missing, like I mentioned, as soon as we realized he was lost, we flocked to every social media and every lost pet site we could and just put our information out there to get in contact with us. It included pictures of Leo. It included his name. And so what happened was that Sunday, I got a call from a 502 area code number. And when I answered the phone, you got the question that everyone you're hoping to hear, which is, hey, are you still, have you still lost your cat? Has he been found yet? And sure enough, I say no. And this is early on in our trying to find him process. And so you'll probably hear throughout the theme of these scams is that they thrive off of you panicking. They try to get you in a panic and try to make a quick decision without thinking logically through it. And, I'll go into the details of the call so everyone can know what to look out for. But in hindsight, there are so many obvious signs, of I should have realized it when they said this. I should have realized it when they said that. But in that moment, you're willing to do anything, whether it's paying any amounts or go to any length to try to get your baby back.
Yeah.
And that's the moment they caught me in. I was in a pure panic. They speak very slowly to get you wanting to get information as fast as possible so you can get to the conclusion of what they're calling about.
Right.
So they told me, hey, can you confirm with me, Leo's full name? Can you tell me his microchip number? That was the first sign that I should have realized. If they're asking for the number, for me to say it to them instead of them telling me, that's a first tell right there. And
that's like asking us for our social security number on the phone.
Exactly. A microchip number is a pet's social security, right? And so in the panic, I'm just trying to confirm it. I'm trying to make sure that whatever he's talking about, it's Leo. And so after confirming this information and telling him his microchip number, he goes on to tell me that Leo was brought in to LMAS. And I'll go ahead and preface that at this point, I've heard of scammers before. So I copy and paste the exact phone number into Google. And sure enough, it traced the first thing that popped up is Louisville Metro Animal Services with their exact address, with the exact phone number that's showing up on my phone, to where that technology is out there now. They can really get you. So you have to be really keen and try not to in the moment panic and look for these signs.
That's right.
So like I said, once he told me that, hey, Leo's been brought in, they added more panic to the situation by letting me know that he has been struck by a vehicle. Which immediately makes me think, okay, he's injured. Like they're letting me know he's maybe dead. And they tell me, no, he's actually not dead. He was struck by a vehicle, but in order for him not to be permanently paralyzed, we need to start operating on him immediately. And so I'm going, the roller coaster in my head is, okay, my cat's been found, to, oh my gosh, my cat got hit by a vehicle, he may be dead, to, oh my gosh, I'm still at least going to get him some part of him back, living, to where you name it, I'm going to do it. And so what they said is we have our emergency vet on site. And in order to start operating, we need a down payment of, and you know what? Let me know. Can you still see my camera as I'm searching this real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'm just pulling up the exact number they told me. They told me the cost for the surgery was going to be about $3,100. But they needed an immediate deposit of $1,500 to go ahead and start the surgery. And if they don't start soon, there's a chance he could be permanently paralyzed.
Yep.
They went on to tell me that I can see Leo later that night, starting at 5 p.m. for about 2.5 hours, but they will hold Leo until the following morning so they can monitor him and make sure the surgery is successful. And so I said, okay, yeah, tell me exactly who I need to send this to, where, just so you all can start immediately.
Unbelievable if these people get away with this. I mean, this is just cruelty. It's cruelty at its absolute finest.
Yeah, it's I'll keep it PG for your lives, Tara.
Oh, you have to. I say fuck every 5 minutes.
Well,
yes, everybody but us is what I say, because
it's one of my favorite words. But there is a special place in hell for people who thrive off of desperation. Like they
sure
did.
Is. Sure is.
And so, looking back, so to wrap up the story, they say we take many forms of payment. We take Apple Pay, we take Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, and they gave me a person's, I believe, email address to send it to, and they tell you to include a specific code in the body of the transfer so they can confirm that it's you who sends it. And then once you send it, they wait to see if they get it. And sometimes they'll even go to the extent of saying, "Oh, this message didn't include the code. We're going to cancel it out for you. Can you resend it with the code?" They'll try to get you to do it as many times as possible in that moment of panic.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, after I sent them the first payment, and they told me that there was something wrong with it and I needed to do it again, that's when I finally woke up and realized what was happening, and immediately hung up, and filed a police report, and and just sat there and had to kind of endure what just happened to my mind. So it was definitely the call lasted probably 10 to 15 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours.
Yep.
And it was taxing for sure. That was a taxing day, for sure. Looking back on it, but the good and hope I can hope to give out of this is a 1,500 donation to get the word out that this is out there, and hopefully it's we can bring these scammers to a halt just by noticing some signs. So
Yep.
like you said, the first thing they're going to try to give information or get you to say information that makes it sound like they know what they're talking about. But I don't know if you saw the interview that LMAS did on Wave 3 a couple weeks ago,
Yes.
but they will never ask for payments over the phone. Ever.
That's right.
Ever.
That's
No animal service will, no hospital will. That is unlawful, and it's not allowed. So anytime someone is asking for immediate payment over the phone, no matter if they're saying it's a life or death decision to do it as soon as possible, it's a scam. So that's the biggest tell.
Adam, when we're talking to Felicia and Tammy, I want you to put the link to that Wave story in the chat so that people can read it and they can see you tell the story on Wave 3, because they thank God. Wave 3 is pretty animal centric, probably because I worked there for years, but they are very good about covering animal stories when it's very hard to get anybody to cover animal stories. But this was such a unique situation, and it was shocking to Louisville Metro Animal Services to find out that their actual phone number had been spoofed by these very clever technological wizards who just have nothing but negative intent. And I want to go to Felicia and Tammy. I'm going to come back to you, Adam, but put that link in there if you will.
Sure thing.
I'm going to go to Felicia and Tammy, and I want to add Abby to the conversation now. Abby is a Sheltie who is currently lost in the South End. This is right around St. Andrew's Church Road, Forest Hills subdivision. And I'm going to let both her mommy and I guess her sister Tammy is Abby's mommy, and Felicia is your stepdaughter. I'd like you to tell the story about Abby and then tell us about the call you received today.
Okay. This was about 1:30 in the morning on Sunday. And I was letting the dogs out, and I never let them go out by themselves. But it was still icy. And when I looked, the latch on the gate had been put down. We had Amazon deliveries prior. And my dog, Max, is almost blind. So I was helping him down the stairs. And when we got down the stairs, I looked around for the other ones, and the gate was open.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up, to make a long story short, we found Rex.
You don't have to. You can make it as long as you want to. This is a live stream, and you can talk as long as you want.
Well, so I searched every place. We found Rex, and Rex is the golden doodle, and he is 3. So he's the one that I thought would have ran, because Abby has never done this before, ever. Even when Rex has got out of the gate before, she just stands there and is like, "You're an idiot." But when I went to turn around to get her, she had ran off into a neighbor's backyard. And so when I went to look for her, like, there was no barking or anything. And she's a Sheltie, so she barks a lot. And so at middle of the night, I'm out there looking for her and calling her name because at the time I didn't know you were not supposed to call their name. And she never answered. Which is unlike her because, like I said, she's a barker.
Yes.
And and then we talked. My husband got up, and my daughter came, and we looked for and looked for and looked for her, and we even took the golden retriever out to see if he could find her, and there's nothing. And my sister-in-law's been out here looking, and like I said, if she was around here, I would have thought that she would have barked.
Exactly.
And she didn't. And I'm a teacher at Goldsmith, and right at dismissal time, I had answered the phone because I had been answering phones of people that I didn't know because I had done what Adam had done and just put everything out there.
Exactly.
And they said it was from Louisville Metro, and they said Abby had been hit by a car. I mean, it's almost identical to what he just said.
Did they say Louisville Metro or Kentucky Humane Society?
It was, yeah, Humane Society. Sorry.
Because the number that came in was the actual Kentucky Humane Society number.
Sorry.
Lisa sent that to me on the phone, and it was just, damn, that's
No.
the real number, all right.
You're right, Felicia. I was at the time I was just so upset. And they said that she had been hit by a car and she was going to become paralyzed if they didn't operate right away. But they couldn't operate on her until they had the money, which was $2,775.
Wow.
And I said, I didn't have that kind of money. My husband had the debit card and stuff. And they said, well, then she's going to be paralyzed. And so I called Felicia and said, hey, I'm at work. Can you take care of this? And they wouldn't give me their number.
Right.
Felicia's number. They asked me, just like with him, they asked me for the microchip number. And like he said, in hindsight, you can see the signs of, oh, I should have guessed that. But at the time,
on your panic.
But at the time, all I thought was my little girl being hit by a car and in pain and being paralyzed and being so scared.
That's right.
And Felicia was smart enough to go, hey, this doesn't sound right.
So they ended up calling me, and I had my card information because when they called on the caller ID, it shows Kentucky Humane Society. So I'm like, okay. So I get my card out, and I was like, well, first of all, the guy was like, I knew from the jump that it wasn't right because he was like, yo, what's your card number? And I'm like, okay,
not
first.
sounding,
Yeah,
right?
not real professional. And I go to the Kentucky Humane Society all the time, and they're just very professional.
You volunteer there. Volunteer there, which is huge.
Right. So I was like, "Are you ready for my card number?" And he goes, "No, we don't take cards." And I was like, "What do you mean you don't take cards?" He's like, "We only take Cash App, Venmo, or Apple Pay." And I was like, okay, I know what this is. I was like, well, I don't have any of those. All I have is a card number. And I said, well, if you're with the Kentucky Humane Society, why can't you take a fucking card? And he was like, well, our card system's down right now. And I was like, I was like, well, let me call my stepmom back because I don't have any of those. And I told Tammy, I said, this is a scam. Like, this isn't right. Like, the Kentucky Humane Society is not going to ask you for Venmo, Cash App, or Apple Pay. They're not going to ask you for that. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes, Tammy, they're not going to ask you for that. They're going to want like a card information. And then that's when I called Amy, that's on our, case with Abby, that's helping us. And she was like, no, you're absolutely right. Like, if she was to get hit by a car or something was to happen, if she got brought in, then they would have contacted Tammy immediately. They would have had her microchip number. They would have already had that. They wouldn't have asked Tammy that information. So I called the number back, and, you know, basically let him know what I really fucking thought of him, that he's a piece of shit. And yeah, so I mean, me and my best friend, we called, and she had words with him, and so did I. And I'm not afraid of it at all. I think that's terrible. What people, you know, we're grieving, like, you know, she, you know, is a basket case. You know, poor Adam, what he's gone through, and you know, that people are taking advantage of people's emotions when they're trying to find, you know, they're our family. You know, our pets are our family, you know, and it's just awful what people are doing. It's just a horrible thing. So,
Well, and that's why our team's slogan is I hate everyone but us.
yeah.
So I'll tell you my story. A couple of years ago, when I was looking for Buddy, who was a beautiful Great Dane, God, what was he? I can't even remember. Just a giant dog. And he ran for, I think, 33 days, 36 days, from one top of the county to the bottom of the county. And we were tracking him. We were setting traps for him. We were doing everything that we possibly could to find this dog. And a guy called me and he said, I have your dog. He's a really nice sized dog. He was a Great Dane St. Bernard. I think. And so he was huge. He says, what a really nice dog. He's a good dog for a training dog. Now that's the nice way of saying bait dog for dog fighting, a training dog to develop the taste of blood in a fighting dog. And he was so convincing that I, a professional volunteer dog rescuer for many, many years, bought the story. And he told me that he could stop the sale for $200 if I'd send him $200. And I was so willing to do that because the kids who owned this dog had been out with us day and night with their mom, Alexis. They had worked so hard to find him. We'd hung thousands of flyers from Shippingport Island to Jefferson Forest and all the way across southeast to west. And we were so invested in getting this dog back. So I sent him the $200. Then I called the police, and I got Middletown police and J-Town police, because that's where we were at the time, to both come out. And this guy convinced me that he was circulating around the Walmart parking lot and that he would be willing to drop the dog off to me if I would send him another $200. By this time, I knew I was being scammed, but I still was so emotionally invested that there was just no way that I was going to let this guy not return this dog. And by the third time, he kept calling me and he'd hang up on me. And he was alternately nice and then very abusive. And by the third call, he said, I see your car. I've got the dog. And I will be willing to meet you at the end of the parking lot and hand him off to you. But you're going to have, you know, the guy is really upset that I'm not selling him the dog and he wants another $300. I swear to God, I sent it to him. That's how invested I was in getting a total stranger's dog back, because we had 50 people looking for him. We had the whole city invested in finding Buddy. It was the summer of 22 when we had 2 long track searches for Loki and then Buddy, one right after the other. And I just about had a heart attack at the thought of somebody taking this dog away from these kids. So, you know, if I can be suckered in, anybody can be suckered in. And I actually knew I was being suckered, but I convinced myself to continue to do what I was doing just in case he wasn't lying. And that's exactly what these people count on. So the part that just kills me is Adam lost $1,500, and it could have been much worse had he not caught on, because of this beautiful love that he has for Leo. And he and Christina and Anne, who is his future mother-in-law, and all the rest of the family treat their animals just like the kids. And this cat is so beloved, and some bug people came in to apparently without permission and without notice to spray their condos like they did everybody else's, or their apartments, and let the cat out, took no responsibility for it. The cat has been missing now for 3 months, pretty much. No sightings, unfortunately, although Angela did get a scent to a wooded area with Copper tracking the dog or tracking the cat. And then with Abby, who has only been gone a few days, already the scams are starting. Already the taking advantage of someone in a state of grief is starting. And it's I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what the benefit these people get is, but I can also tell you that I was in the car hysterical. And if it hadn't been for Chief Sanders from the J-Town police force calling me and saying, Tara, they don't have the dog, I never would have snapped out of it. I'd probably be in bankruptcy right now because I would have kept paying the guy to ensure that this possible, dog thief would give the dog back. He said, they don't have the dog. And I said, but how do you know? How do you know? And he said, because this is what they do. So, we've all been taken advantage of. We all feel like absolute fools when it happens to us. But being able to come on this live stream, and I appreciate you guys so much for doing it, and educate other people about what has happened to you to help them prevent it from happening to them. Because my God, I know you guys are aware of this because I know you watch my live streams. You watch my pages and Megan's page and Lauren's page and Tammy's page and Amy's page. It is absolutely insane how many animals are loose on the streets of Louisville. Some people want them back. Some people don't want them back. But folks like you guys who love their animals with all their hearts and so desperately want them back will go to any lengths to get them back. And it's heartbreaking. And I know how you felt, Adam. I mean, the gut-wrenching feeling of knowing that you had just spent $1,500 on a scam had to have just eaten you alive.
Yeah, it was. It's funny, Tara. I know it's a lot of money, but at the time, I didn't care. I was more upset that it was all a farce, that my cat wasn't found, even after all that,
Yep.
And sure, I'm definitely still paying the repercussions for sending that money over. We had to get real creative with our budget for the next couple of weeks and try to make up for that loss. But yeah, it's playing with the emotions that really gets under my skin. And it's just having to swallow some pride and yeah, it's embarrassing that I fell for that. Honestly, it is. I feel a bit embarrassed by it, but just being able to get some good out of it by trying to spread the word and try to prevent the next couple of times this happens. If that's the only good that comes out of it, then so be it. But yeah, I appreciate you giving us the platform to share this story and spread the word, Tara. Thank you.
I'm very grateful that you could, because this makes a huge difference for me too. It actually does, because when we're out searching, and I don't even search for cats. I know the people who do. I know you've had the very best help that you could get. I'm the dog searcher. Most of the people who work with me are extraordinary dog searchers. Some of them also look for cats. Some of them pick up wildlife. We all pick up wildlife at some point. We've pulled more coyotes off the road in the last couple of days than I can even count. And people think that they're German shepherds. So we always go to investigate to see if it's actually a dog. Mm-hmm. But back to Sandy and Tammy and Felicia, the feeling, the emotion that you guys have is based in your recent experience that Felicia was sharing with us earlier today. And that is, you've had a very, very sick family member, and it has put a huge amount of stress on you. And the fact that these people would do this to you, would cause this kind of pain to you, is absolutely horrific, considering what your family has been through recently.
Yeah. And, and it's just like, like we were talking earlier, it's like, I just don't understand how somebody can be so fucking sick and do that, and like just play on someone's emotions like that. And it's sad. And it's obviously the same person that did it to Adam, because it's basically the same story. It's, takes Venmo, Cash App, or whatever he was saying. Like, it's the same people. So it's like they're taking advantage of, you know, people's emotions. They're looking for their pets, you know, and it's a sad situation that I can never imagine doing that to somebody, you know. Get a fucking
Right.
job. Like, that's how I feel.
I really, really need you to be on my team, by the way, because we speak the same language. The saddest part to me about this whole story, number one, is that anyone would feel the need to do something so horrendous to another human being, and the insensitivity and the callousness and the inhumanity and the viciousness, the pure evil that walks the earth is stunning. But secondly, that they would do it at such a vulnerable time in somebody's life, and they're counting on the multi-billion-dollar industry that is our animals, because we spend more on our animals than we do on our kids. We spend more on our animals than we do on our spouses. We spend millions of dollars a year to keep our animals safe, and now those of us who do, safe and healthy and taken care of. And then there is an entire part of the population whose resources are not available, who can't get into the vet, who can't raise the money. And, you know, this happens sometimes when we have an injured animal that has to go to the emergency vet, and we're doing fundraising, or we're trying to get organizations that do this to help pay for the bills, to triage the animal, to, you know, get them into treatment, to fundraise, to help them apply for care credit and scratch pay, all of those things. Yeah. So, you know, and people even take advantage of those folks. And one thing I want to just take the opportunity to do while we're here is, we had a really bad incident the other day where somebody picked up a dog who was within a few feet of its family. He wandered away for a moment, and his name was Rambo. His family was shoveling the church parking lot. He jumped out of the truck to go to the potty, and he wandered around the corner of the building, and somebody was there and snatched him up. And
oh my God,
they reached out to me and asked me what to do. And I said, take the dog to Louisville Metro Animal Services immediately. I mean, this was straight out the first and only thing that I ever have to say to somebody: take the dog to Metro Animal Services. And if you can field foster the dog, then it doesn't have to stay at the shelter. Well, instead, because there's always a tremendous amount of hype about the fact that we have such an overpopulation problem, that the shelter is always full. The shelter is at capacity. The shelter is at code red. Every rescue is overwhelmed. Every shelter in the country is overwhelmed. And we're not taking the necessary action to mandate spay-neuter, to mandate microchipping, to have severe consequences for backyard breeding. We're not doing those things, and we haven't done those things for so long. And now that the problem is so explosive, people are finally starting to sit up and take notice. So, you know, I say to all of you, when you find an animal, the first and most important thing is to report it to your local shelter. You can do that quickly by going online, for instance, to Louisville Metro Animal Services, and you can go to the little category that says report a pet you have found. You can do the same with report a pet you have lost. You put in the information, put the picture up, that immediately becomes available to anybody who goes to the website to see if their dog is there, or to see if they've, you know, whatever. They can look at the whole Metro website for every bit of information. But report a pet you have found is the quickest way to get that animal visible. The second thing is, Louisville Metro Animal Services and a lot of other shelters across the country have what's called field fostering or stray fostering available. And that means if you bring an animal into the shelter, as we do all the time, you can have the dog or cat vaccinated. You can have, and there's a different protocol for cats, because a lot of those are trapped, neutered, returned. They're sent back out into the community to be community cats, but particularly with dogs. You can field foster the dog. They will vaccinate the dog. They will register the dog in person, put the dog on a 5-day stray hold, register you as the field foster. They'll give you a crate. They'll give you a bed. They'll give you a collar, a leash, a bag of food, whatever you need to make that dog happy and comfortable in your home. And it keeps the dog out of the shelter, but still under the care of Louisville Metro Animal Services. And the field fostering is an exceptional way not only to make sure that you're not stealing a dog, because Kentucky considers dogs property, and taking a dog and not doing everything you possibly can to return it to its rightful owner is theft. So you have to understand that there are protocols in place that prevent people from never getting their animals back. And it's very possible, Adam, you could be a victim of this as well. Somebody who doesn't want to take an animal to a shelter because they think it's going to be killed immediately, which it's not. They all get a 5-day stray hold. And then the most important thing is keeping an animal out of the shelter, but still under the auspices of the shelter, making it public knowledge that it's there, it's on their website. If you reclaim that animal, you go in, they call the foster, they say, bring the animal back, the owner's here, and everything's done. Now, if it doesn't happen that way, if the animal is not claimed, then they spay and neuter and microchip the animals, and they put them up for adoption. It's an amazing, wonderful alternative, and you really cannot understand how important it is to make those reports, because not everybody has social media. A large part of the population does not, in fact, have social media. And that's why the signs are so critically important. And that's exactly what these are. These little signs, which are made very quickly on a phone or on a computer through very, very versatile little apps, and then quickly can be sent to, the FedEx store. They can be sent to Walmart or Walgreens or Kinko's or wherever you want to go. You get those printed, you get the smaller versions to hand out, and then you get these up all over the area where you lost the animal. Because a lot of people will see them driving by, stopping at a stop sign, stopping at a red light. They look to the right out the window, and there it is, hanging on the phone pole, hanging below the stop sign. Very, very good way to get things out and get that information out to people who do not have social media. And as I said, everybody says, oh, get it on the news. The news could not possibly cover every animal story, or they would be wall-to-wall animals, just like my once multifaceted Facebook page has become, which is wall-to-wall lost dogs and wall-to-wall medical pleas and wall-to-wall cases of stolen animals and everything else. So I'm just kind of giving you guys the lowdown on what the options are. And other counties are not as lucky. Many smaller counties in Kentucky don't even have operational shelters, or they have 3 or 4 spaces, or they're not taking dogs in at all. Louisville Metro Animal Services, for all of its, many years of trials and tribulations, is still maintaining a 95% live release rate. And that's in this environment, that's remarkable. And they are also getting, we have a large number of people in this city who foster for the shelter and foster for KHS and foster for the rescues. Those folks are the lifesavers. Many of them are present in the stream right now. People who have multiple animals in their homes of their own, and then they add to that burden by having foster animals because they don't want them to be in the shelter, get kennel crazy, not be able to be exercised, not be able to cuddle up on the couch and just be loved. So there are so many things that people can do, and we encourage you to get involved. And field fostering is a quick and easy way to get in the door of being an approved foster at LMAS, because if you bring a dog in and you can field foster it, register it, sign it up, be official, you save that dog's life. And in the very, very code red days, you save the life of another dog that may have to die to make room for the dog you're bringing in. So this whole purpose tonight was to really inform the people who watch this page and who watch my other pages about the terrific burden of having a lost pet. And you have to know, and I asked Adam and I asked Tammy and Felicia to share their stories tonight, so you would know this can so easily happen to you. Whether it's Leo the cat, who's been missing since November 1st, or Abby the Sheltie, who's been missing from Dixie Highway, St. Andrews Church Road area for the last few days. These dogs and cats are beloved, and they are like family members, and we want to get them home. So if you have the dog or cat, if you know where the dog or cat is, and if you have the capacity to help get them returned, that's what we need you to do. Whether it's this Sheltie, whose name is Abby, or this cat, whose name is Leo, we need those animals to come home. And any animal that is out loose, assume it needs your direct and immediate intervention, because dogs don't walk themselves. There's a lot of cats that are loose, that are community cats, but dogs do not walk themselves. And if you see an unaccompanied dog, take immediate action to intervene, carry your slip lead, your Vienna sausages, and be prepared to sing happy birthday for an hour until you can convince that dog to come to you, and then deliver it safely to Metro Animal Services. Adam, Tammy, Tammy, Felicia, thank you guys so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I
Tara.
really
I appreciate you.
And we're going to just keep these guys really, really present and at the top of mind. And we wish you guys luck. We're sorry for the scams and the heartbreak that you've been through, but we're not going to give up on finding these lost dogs. And we really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
All
Thanks,
right, my
Tara.
pleasure. You guys have a good night. Thanks,
You
y'all,
too.
for listening. We appreciate you, and we look forward to more educational seminars, more Tara Talks. Thank you for coming to my Tara Talk tonight, and thanks so much to my guests. I really appreciate you. Please share the live. If you haven't already shared the live, hit that share button, hit that like and follow. It really helps to get more and more people in the loop. I don't get any financial benefit from it because I'm not monetized. Mine is about education and information. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys. And please keep your eyes out for this dog and all the other dogs that are missing on my page, and this particular cat. And please don't take the fall. Please don't take a huge financial hit, and please don't take a huge emotional hit because of people who are the filth of the earth, people who are going to take advantage of you in a time of loss.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.